What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaos, and welcome to a new special edition of Take It to the Table. Now, if you may recall from the last episode that I did, which was the top 5 worst moments in WWE, I said that I was going to be doing a top 10 list of both best and worst WWE and AEW pay-per-views this year. If you haven't seen that episode, my top 5 worst moments in WWE TV in 2019, be sure to check that out. The suggested box will be here. One of them. Just click on that. Funny episode with me, myself, Mr. Rhymes, and Rods. Hilarious episode. But yeah, we are going to be talking about the best pay-per-views in this episode for WWE and AEW. It's been pretty much a turbulent year for WWE. And obviously with the AEW coming out, God, it sounds like they're in the closet. But yeah, they haven't had that many pay-per-views, so don't expect them to be that much on the list. If they are, of course, you know. But yeah, also keep in mind that this is my personal top 10 favorite pay-per-views this year. And also, yeah, after this episode, I'll be doing a top 10 worst
motherfucker never loved us
pay-per-view list for both WWE and or AEW. But yeah, without further ado, let's start the top 10 best pay-per-views of this year. Cue intro. Right, coming in at number 10 would have to be WWE Extreme Rules. Now, I wouldn't say it was a bad pay-per-view. Obviously, it's not, because it's on this list. I just finished work. It's been pretty much. I'm running on fumes right here. That pay-per-view for me was, even though it had a couple eye roller matches, but there was some great matches in there. There was Aleister Black versus Cesaro. You know, them two are one of the hardest workers in the business. Cesaro will always get 110% out of whoever he faces. That guy, everyone knows that is hugely underrated. Should be utilized way more than what he is now. There was also the Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley in the last man standing match. Crazy match. Had no reason to be that good, especially with the finish when Braun Strowman power slammed Bobby Lashley through this thing that was set up, and then he did some Hulk. No, not even that. He did some Kool-Aid business. He flipped and just bust through the wall.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh
no! And just, yeah, he was victorious. That was a very good match. The Revival versus the Usos for the SmackDown, the Raw Tag Team Championship. When the Revival gets utilized well, they bring out 110%. Great match, and the Usos being the Usos, that was quite enjoyable for me. Obviously, the main event was a bit of an eye roller. You know, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin. Obviously, my favorite spot of the match was when Becky Lynch to the end of days. And then the unexpected finish where Brock Lesnar randomly comes out, cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase, and becomes Universal Champion once again. I have mixed feelings with that finish. You know, me personally, I would have let Brock Lesnar hold the briefcase up until the Fox premiere on SmackDown. And then, just cash in unexpectedly against Kofi Kingston. That would have been a nice little pop, but we all know what happened there. That didn't come to fruition. And Brock Lesnar squashed Kofi in 6 seconds. Fun. But yeah, for the most part, there was a lot of enjoyable moments in Extreme Rules. Like I said, the Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley match, Aleister Black versus Cesaro. Beautiful match. And yeah, the Tag Team Master Revival versus the Usos for the Tag Team Championships. Those are my favorites, and I think, that stood out enough for it to just about make it on my top 10 list. Coming in at number 9. This one, this might raise some eyebrows, but screw it. My list, my rules, nigga. No, I'm joking. But yeah, coming up at number 9 would have to be SummerSlam. This has some decent matches, has some decent moments. You know, it's one of the top 4, you know, the big 4 of the year. And yeah, this had plenty of decent moments. Of course, Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. That was Goldberg's redemption match after that interesting match against The Undertaker at Super Showdown. I believe it was Super Showdown. Yes, it was Super Showdown. Yeah, he redeemed himself. You know, Dolph Ziggler being Dolph Ziggler, completely sold it like a champ. That was a really good match, nice redemption for Goldberg. Really happy for him for that. Also, AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the United States Championship was great. Obviously, AJ Styles and Ricochet, they have to have a great match. Obviously, AJ Styles retained to stay as United States Champion, but it was pretty good, pretty solid. And of course, the debut of The Fiend against Finn Balor. That was one hell of a debut. Obviously, it cost Finn Balor, but look where he's at now. Doing pretty well, I must say. Yeah, The Fiend came out with an amazing entrance, had the lantern, awesome theme music, and yeah, probably pretty much my favorite match because he didn't have no damn red lights. As my friend Ride says, it looked like, you know, anytime he's in the match, it seems like he's in the middle of Kane's entrance. So yeah, that was good. Very solid match from The Fiend, and to hopefully, you know, give us an inkling of what's to come in the future. Oh, God knows what we know after that. And of course, the main event, Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship for Seth to reclaim. It was okay for the most part. My money was going to be on Brock Lesnar because, you know, he completely destroyed Seth week after week after week. And then all of a sudden he pulls it out of the bag and, you know, Seth wins. Wasn't quite buying it, but at the same time, they wanted to cash in on Seth because at that time, he was actually quite likable. Who knew? All in all, that was good. The kickoff show, I must say, Drew Gulak versus Oni Lorcan. Great match. And of course, Buddy Murphy against Apollo Crews. Always brings out 100% out of every match that he's in, for the most part. For the most part, it was, again, a solid pay-per-view. Deserves to be mentioned with some of the matches that was on there. And of course, Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus. Good to see Trish Stratus back in the ring, you know, officially passing the torch, even though Charlotte Flair pretty much yanked it beforehand. But obviously, everyone says that Trish Stratus was overrated, but at the end of the day, she was the face of the women's division at one point in time. So it was good to obviously see, you know, pretty much the passing of the torch and a good send-off for Trish. Yeah, I would say that was a pretty strong pay-per-view from WWE. Next up, number 8 would have to be NXT TakeOver Toronto. You know, a takeover has to be somewhere on this list, right? You know, it's NXT TakeOver. What do you expect? But yeah, I would say this one was a pretty solid pay-per-view, as always. I don't know why I'm just, you know, I'm drilling into your head. You guys know that already. I must say I'm ashamed to say that I just skipped at the time. I just skipped Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae. That match, I skipped that, unknowing that I didn't think it was going to be that great. I went back and watched it. Solid match. Probably one of the best of the year, really. Yeah, that was a great match. Velveteen Dream versus Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. Best of the best right there. Great match. I think there was one point where like Roderick Strong, like I think he had Pete Dunne in the ropes, I think. Don't quote me on this. But he went back to back, just elbowing him like ropes, like doing the rope-a-dope, just running across, doing the elbows back to back to back. That was great. I may be getting confused with Matt Riddle. I'm not sure. Just don't quote me on that, like I said. That was for the NXT North American Championship, which Velveteen Dream defended. That was top notch. The one weakest match out there, I think, to my opinion, was Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim. I wasn't really fully buying Mia Yim at the time. I think they pushed her a bit too soon, and she just pretty much just got run over by Shayna Baszler at the end of the day. But her time will come. She's still got enough time to grow. She definitely is a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, definitely keep a lookout for her. But yeah, that was pretty much the weakest. It wasn't the best match, and there was a couple botches on there, which really annoyed me. I definitely remember there were some botches that really annoyed me. But it is what it is. And of course, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I don't know how Johnny Gargano is up there with Daniel Bryan. He could have a match with a mop, and it would be a 5-star match. Dave Meltzer would probably break his rating system. And yeah, like Adam Cole, baby, versus Johnny Gargano was just. This was the third out of this was the trilogy, basically. I believe this was their trilogy. So the first match was when Gargano got disqualified by hitting Cole with a chair. So obviously Cole won that one. And then the second fall was a street fight, which Gargano made Cole tap. And then obviously the third one was the steel cage with all the weapons around. And yeah, it was not boring. It was not any point. Not at any point it was boring. And they just kept on just pulling things out of the hat, and it was just so many false finishes, but it was good. And the chemistry, again, like I said, was just amazing. This one, in my opinion, was the weakest out of the trilogy, but it was still great. Like, it was up there with Gargano against Ciampa, and yeah, them two, they know how to pull out the hat, man. It was great. So yeah, that is my number 8. Coming in hot at number 7 would have to be Elimination Chamber. Now, safe to say, this didn't really have, obviously, the best matches. We had Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. That was pretty much just an excuse to, they just fed Ruby Riott to Ronda Rousey. It was just an excuse, obviously, get Ronda Rousey ready for WrestleMania. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman was a whatever match. And of course Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley, and that was okay. It was good to see Finn Balor win the Intercontinental Championship against Bobby Lashley, and of course the women's match, the women's tag team match in the Elimination Chamber had some decent moments. But the reason I put this on here is for the simple fact that this is the reason we got Kofi Kingston in the main event picture. Obviously, we all know that it was originally meant to be Mustafa Ali, but he had to pull out due to injury reasons. But yeah, Kofi Kingston won the gauntlet. I believe it was in the gauntlet match, and he won the place to be in the Elimination Chamber pod. And eventually people just opened their eyes and were just like, oh yeah, Kofi Kingston. He's never really got his shot, and he's always been consistent in the company. And yeah, this was the birth of Kofi Mania, pretty much, and it was in such a great way. People almost believed that he could have won the title right there and then in that match. And yeah, I think the simple fact is that he wasn't meant to be there. He was not meant to be there, and God knows what the original plan was with Daniel Bryan, because it wasn't going to be Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan, I don't think. And if it was, I don't think he would have gotten that much of a buzz like how Kofi Kingston did. So it was just, the stars were aligned. Obviously, it took someone to be injured for Kofi to get that spot. But these things happen. And yeah, we got the birth of Kofi Mania. And we got one of the greatest moments. As you can see behind me, one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history. I'm so happy that I was there. I was part of history right there. This is crazy. So yeah, I didn't even realize you were gonna play behind me. My bad. So yeah, this is the sole reason that it's up there, and yeah, because we got this. That's why it's up there. Coming in at number 6 would have to be NXT TakeOver XXV. Now, this was, I think this was a random pay-per-view, but who's going to say no to a takeover? There's another one coming out next year. It's randomly in February. NXT TakeOver Portland, Oregon. It's very random. I don't think anything's happened. Nothing happens. Oh wait, Fastlane. That's happening in February. This coming February. Yeah. Again, this was a very good pay-per-view. Takeovers they rarely, if ever, disappoint. And this was definitely amongst my favorites. We did get Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. I think this was the match I got confused because that's when he tied up Matt Riddle and he put him in between the ropes and he just ran across with elbows. I don't know why I love that spot. It's simple, but it's just brutal. Them guys were just doing strong style wrestling. And yeah, that was a great start to the pay-per-view. Then we got the Fatal 4-Way ladder match. It was a tag team match. The Street Profits versus the Forgotten Sons. Versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, and the Undisputed Era. And yeah, that was a great ladder match. It was solid, lots of top spots. I can't fault it. It was a great match. What's typically what you expect from a takeover and in a ladder match. And obviously the Street Profits won. An unexpected match. I didn't really have any. I didn't really care for it much, but it turned out to be a great match. Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze for the NXT North American Championship. Everyone knows that Tyler Breeze can go. Again, he's another one that's been underutilized ever since he came to the main roster. But he's gone back to NXT and he's doing pretty alright now, him and Fandango. But yeah, this was a great match. Great that he had a solid little singles run to, show what he's capable of. And of course, this had another favorite main event. Oh, this match was so good. And I was balancing this one between this one and another one I'm going to announce later on, which I'm pretty sure it's a no-brainer. But it was Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano. And this is when Adam Cole won it from Johnny Gargano. And yeah, it was like, I'll just never forget that spot where Johnny Gargano was having his knee was getting busted. And then I remember there was this one spot where Johnny Gargano set Adam Cole up on the turnbuckle. And then I think he was beating him down. And then Johnny Gargano was looking to run towards Adam Cole. But then his knee gave out in that split second. And then just there, somehow Adam Cole just like, oh, that's my spot. And he just immediately did the Panama Sunrise. It didn't seem... It's a spot that just seems like it doesn't seem scripted. It just natural instinct. He saw the slip and that was his chance and he actually went for it. You don't really see that kind of stuff on the main roster. It was just, and that's how the chemistry between them is seamless. It's just amazing. And it was, again, false finishes and just crazy back and forth. It wasn't one-sided. It was just everyone had their chance. And it was just an amazing match. Like I said, I don't know which one. At the time, it was a tough decision. Which one would I go for? Put the one at New York in this spot, or would I put this one in this spot? And then eventually, after watching both of them, I decided I'll put this one at number 6. And yeah, it was an amazing match. Great matches through and through. But yeah, again, and Dave Meltzer, he broke his rating system. He gave it more than 5 stars because it was just that good. It was just that good.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
What's going on, people? This is the man of the hour, Leo Rush, the 24-year-old piece of gold himself, here to ask you to share and subscribe to Robert Chaos's YouTube channel. Listen, we're doing a little show called Take It to the Table where we're talking about everything wrestling. So share, subscribe right now.
Now, back to our show.
Coming in at number 5, this was pretty much an easy choice. AEW Full Gear. This was AEW's 3rd pay-per-view. And yeah, It was great. AEW never disappoint. To me, right now they are on the best winning streak any wrestling promotion could ever hope for. They always pull out all the stops at Full Gear. It's a shame that their pay-per-view model is every 3 months, but it keeps the quality up there. So it works for now. This pay-per-view had some great moments. Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks, great match. There was a couple botches in there that kind of made me like go, where's the chemistry? Did you not rehearse this? It was a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Adam Page versus Pac. I love Neville. He's just one of the greatest out there. One of WWE's biggest crimes was letting him go, and he's always showing why they shouldn't have let him go. SoCal Uncensored versus the Lucha Bros versus the Private Party. I love Private Party. Their gin and juice finisher is just amazing. I love their finisher. If you guys haven't seen it, is when one of them jumps, puts someone on the turnbuckle. They literally jumps, gives them a hurricanrana, flings them off the top rope, and then someone does a cutter. It's just an amazing. Put that in 2K21 or whoever takes it over next year. But is this match still going? Jeez, shows how much I was invested in this match. Great match, great chemistry. SoCal Uncensored won that match, but it was an amazing match, very good. Of course, Chris Jericho against Cody. Cody has one of the coolest entrances in AEW. Simple as, it's quite badass. And of course, the unfortunate finish with MJF when he threw in the towel and then he low blows him, beats the crap out of him. Even though there was also that really botched ending or botched section in the match where Cody did a suicide dive and he completely busted his eye open. It was pretty gruesome. But of course, the main event, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in a lights out match. It was not unsanctioned and everything, but they made it. They gave it a reason why it was unsanctioned. Jesus Christ, the hell they put themselves into. Jon Moxley, he's used to this deathmatch stuff back in CZW and all that kind of stuff. That's his stick. But you've never really seen Kenny Omega in this kind of stuff. You see him in strong style, him against Okada in New Japan. But it was a new world for him. And he didn't hold back. Neither of them held back. It was just insane the amount of stuff they put themselves through. And it wasn't, people say they went too far. I don't think they went too far. It was the right level. It was up there when Gargano faced Ciampa. It was that same match where Ciampa ripped up the mat of the ring and he probably DDT'd him on the actual wood. That match was also great. Oh goodness, that's another one I can't tell which match was the best in their saga. But yeah, going back to Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, great match. What a way to that was a main event worth being the main event, even though it's not really, but I still call it the main event. And yeah, they didn't hold back. I'm just looking at the times right now, and it was actually on for 40 minutes. That match did not feel on for 40 minutes. It wasn't too long. It didn't go over. Yeah, they made it worthwhile. AEW Full Gear. If you haven't seen that, please, I beg you, see it. It has to be seen to be believed. Don't miss out on AEW, man. They're coming for WWE's ass. I'll tell you. Jesus. Coming in at number 4 is another one of WWE's Big Four. It is WWE Survivor Series. This has been WWE's strongest Survivor Series in a long time. I can't really put a finger of when their last one is. It wasn't last year. That was absolute whatever. But they made the right decisions for the most part. in for this Survivor Series. It was very strong. Even from the kickoff show, they had the NXT Cruiserweight title, Lio Rush versus Akira Tozawa and Kalisto. Obviously Lio Rush won. Big ups to Lio Rush. Thanks for the shout out as well. Viking Raiders versus the Undisputed Era versus the New Day. And yeah, that was great. And obviously the Viking Raiders won for Raw. Team NXT for the women's won against Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Roderick Strong, I was hoping that he would win, and I didn't think they were gonna let him because obviously Shinsuke Nakamura won the Intercontinental Championship, or got a new title of it. But Roderick Strong won for NXT again. Great match with Adam Cole against Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship, especially after the war that he went through in War Games 24 hours prior. That was amazing. Don't mess with Adam Cole, baby. The Fiend against Daniel Bryan, meh. God, they drove the ball on him. I don't want to start on that. You know my thoughts about the Fiend. Team SmackDown rightfully won against Team NXT. Obviously, me personally, I wish they did a clean sweep NXT. With when it came to the main card, but it is what it is. But Team SmackDown won in a great match. Keith Lee, absolutely, he was a made man. Definitely a made man. His time will come. He will be a main event player. I'm telling you, if they treat him right, which I think they will, because like I said, he's the right physique, and Vince loves them kind of people, that kind of stature and stuff. When it comes to them kind of. That's him. Great showing for Keith Lee. SmackDown won. No one complained. Great match. Brock Lesnar against Rey Mysterio. For a split second, people thought that Rey Mysterio was going to win because his son intervened. Did a double 619 nicely. I'm starting to think that this guy ain't going to be Mr. Botchamania. He's definitely following in his father's footsteps. I'm quite curious to see what he's going to do for the future. Dominic. But yeah, it was good for what it was only 7 minutes, but it was a good 7 minutes, quite enjoyable in my opinion. And of course, the main event, Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch versus Bayley, was okay. It was the weakest out of all the matches of the night. I'm not sure why they were the main event in my opinion, but it is what it is. Good show, and I'm just happy that NXT won because it makes sense. They are the next generation. Raw and SmackDown don't need it. It's fine. So really happy for NXT. They made the right decisions for the most part, like I said. And yeah, the strongest Survivor Series I've seen in quite a few years, definitely. Right, we are almost at the promised land. This is my top 3 of the best pay-per-views, in my opinion, of 2019. Coming in at number 3, another AEW pay-per-view, and that is All Out. This was their second pay-per-view, official big pay-per-view for AEW, and yeah, and this is a sequel to All In before they were officially called AEW, but it was a sequel nonetheless. Great showing. Very good matches. Very, very solid matches. One of my favorites in AEW's history, even including their TV tapings, and they bring out some good matches on their TV tapings. Pac versus Kenny Omega was great. Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin versus Joey Janela was great. That was let me just research quickly. A 3-way Cracker Barrel match. It says it was 15 minutes, but it was going back and forth. It was fast paced, and then Darby Allin, being the crazy SOB that he is, getting the Cracker Barrel and actually trying to flatten Jimmy Havoc on the steel steps. I don't know where you would get that idea from, but it was some good spots in that match. Jimmy Havoc won that though. Come to think of it, he hasn't won anything in a while. Yeah, it's crazy. The Dark Order versus the Best Friends. I wasn't quite sold on them at the time, the Dark Order. But it did some crazy spots. I think there was one spot when the big guy, can't remember his name, forgive me, he did a cannonball in the turnbuckle while his partner did like a crazy moonsault above him. That was a pretty good spot. And there was Cody versus Shawn Spears. It was a good match. It was quite good. But Kofi Mania, baby. Anyway, the match that I was looking forward to in this pay-per-view was the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks for the AAA World Tag Team Championships. Wicked match. Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen my vlog for All Out, I'm going to put that link up as well. That was an amazing match. Are you kidding me? Canadian Destroyer into a table. Are you mad, blood? It was absolutely amazing. My favorite match of the night, definitely. Crazy spots. Obviously, people say it was a spot fest. It was the right amount of spots. It wasn't just craziness. You expect that from the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. There was a Canadian Destroyer on the side of the ring. There was just some madness. Absolutely, there's too much spots to mention. It was just absolutely great. Yeah, that match was crazy. And of course, Chris Jericho versus Adam Page for the AEW Championship. Well, at the time it was vacant. Whoever wins was going to be the first ever AEW champion, and Chris Jericho won. Was a good match. Was pretty good. Solid end to the night. There was no craziness that was happening. Just great. Simple. One of my favorite pay-per-views. Obviously, it's in my top 3 of the year. Solid throughout. There's a couple matches I didn't mention. Not to say that they were rubbish, but like it was still solid. But those were my favorite matches and had my favorite moments in that pay-per-view. And yeah, it was just great. I love AEW, man. So glad this is a true alternative for the wrestling business, and it's just a great time to be a wrestling fan. Right, we're coming up to the top 2 now. Number 2 of my best pay-per-views of 2019 is going to NXT TakeOver New York, New York. How did that sound? Now? Okay, fine. This, solely I'm putting this up there because I was there as well. It was, the atmosphere was just electrifying. It was just great. Back to back, great matches. The War Raiders versus Ricochet and Aleister Black for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We all knew that the War Raiders were more likely going to win because Ricochet and Aleister Black were already on Raw and SmackDown. There was some madness going on, but yeah, they were leaving. Everyone knew that they were leaving, and but yeah, it didn't stop them from putting on a 10 out of 10 match. Absolutely great. Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle. I don't remember much of that match. I don't remember much of it, but I remember Velveteen Dream's entrance when he came out as the Statue of Liberty. Badass entrance. It was cool. But I'm pretty sure it was enjoyable. The match itself was enjoyable. Of course, Walter versus Pete Dunne for the UK Championship. Me personally, it was good. In my opinion, it went on maybe a cinch too long. Because I'm looking at right now, and it went on for almost 30 minutes. And yeah, it was good. There was some hard hitting moments, but there was at points where I was like, it felt a bit too long. There, maybe it might look different on TV. I haven't watched this back on TV. But yeah, for me, it went a bit too long. It was still good though. And Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Candice LeRae. Me at the time, I thought Io Shirai was gonna win. But yeah, Shayna Baszler captivated on that. It was a decent match. It was good. Wasn't too long. It was a great match. Shayna Baszler always brings out 10 out of 10 in their own matches. In most of her matches anyway. But this is what started the trilogy. And what a way to start the trilogy, my lad. Hey, you mean? No, this Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, baby. For at that time, the vacant NXT Championship. Of course, Tommaso Ciampa had to relinquish it due to a neck injury. And this was also a 2 out of 3 falls match. I didn't realize it was a 2 out of 3 falls match at the time. Obviously, I realized back then, but I forgot that it was 2 out of 3 falls. And I was just looking back at the notes, and I was like, "Oh wow, it was a 2 out of 3 falls," and it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. It was one of the best matches I've seen. Anytime I see best matches, like great, amazing matches, is usually on TV. But to see it actually being there, it just makes it even better. Like there's people around me saying like, "Look at this! This is crazy! Like he's not a god. What the hell? What's going on?" But so many false finishes, so many innovative moves. Johnny Gargano, of course, won and captivated the NXT Championship. And it was just sublime. And what a main event. It was just, I think there was a Panama Rise, if I remember, onto the table and the announcer's table outside. So many last shots from Adam Cole. And yeah, it was just back and forth. They have one of the best chemistries in the business. I'm sorry. Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, just freaking amazing. That is why it is my number 2 NXT TakeOver New York of 2019. We are here. Numero uno. Number 1. My number 1 best pay-per-view of the year is pretty much the pay-per-view that started it all. Started a craze. The true alternative. You know what I'm talking about. The first pay-per-view for AEW. Yes! I'm talking about Double or Nothing. Woo! This pay-per-view got me hyped. Are you hey. Let me break it down for y'all. Alright? Let me break it down for y'all. This pay-per-view is one of the very few pay-per-views of any lifetime that just will not, in my opinion, did not disappoint. It just had everything. Obviously, at the time, I didn't really know many of these people. There was Kip Sabian, there was Sammy Guevara, there was Britt Baker, there was Kylie Ray, their version of Bayley, basically. But better. Nyla Rose. There was numerous people. MJF. But they left a mark. It was just crazy. From the kickoff show up into the main card, we had the 21-man casino battle royale. Had some madness in it, but it worked. It was more memorable than any Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal ever could do. You know what I'm saying? It was just great. I think MJF won that one. No, Adam Page won that. Sorry, my mistake. My favorite matches were, of course, Best Friends versus Jack Evans and Angelico. I love Angelico and Jack Evans. Their chemistry is crazy. I'm surprised they're not really being used that much now. I got a feeling they got some good plans for them coming up. Unless one of them's injured. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, they are a force to be reckoned with for sure. Cody versus Dustin. Ooh, blood, sweat, and blood clot tears, my lord. That was an emotional match. That was just crazy. They left everything there. Everything, and it was convincing. People say maybe the blood was a bit excessive. To a degree, maybe. But it added to the story. It wasn't pointless blood. It added to the story that they were portraying. And this match didn't have no build-up. Didn't really have much of a build-up. Maybe something on Twitter. They had back and forth. But there was no long storyline. And they gave us that. Exactly what my friend Ride said. It was just an amazing match. It was just crazy. Didn't have no business being that good. But it was. It was absolutely crazy. Of course, we got the first Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros match. Woo! Set the bar for tag team wrestling. And of course, we got Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. Solid match. It's something you would expect from Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. It wasn't hard hitting. They couldn't keep up with the pace. Obviously, what Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers could do. But it was still solid. And of course, we got the debut of Jon Moxley. And what an impression he did leave. DDT the ref, DDT Chris Jericho, almost did it to Kenny Omega. Didn't happen. Brawled all the way up until he got to the chips. The Double or Nothing chips, which by the way, AEW's got some good stage designs. I must say they got a decent streak going on. But yeah, and pretty much just FU'd him, FU'd him onto like solid. It looked painful. It looked painful. And yeah, it was just an amazing. That set the bar. They did not hold anything back. It just had everything. It was just great, and they showed that they are here, and we are making a statement that we are going to be the true alternative. We are going to get the big names. We are coming for your ass. And Cody Rhodes' entrance destroyed Triple H's throne.
Shots fired. I repeat, shots fired.
Code red, my lord. Hey, it's absolutely crazy. That was just, it was great. I was still smiling for a good hour after I saw that pay-per-view. If you haven't seen my reaction along with Rides, I'll put the link below as well. That was just a great match. Refreshing, absolutely refreshing. Had everything, and yeah, they set the mark. And in my opinion, they haven't really faltered. There wasn't like a one-trick pony. They are staying on a steady pace, and they are showing that we are here. And that is why AEW Double or Nothing is my #1 pick for the best pay-per-view of 2019. And that is it. That's my top 10 best pay-per-views of 2019. Leave your comments below. Let me know your top 10 favorite pay-per-views of this year. Let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm smoking crack. I don't know, but that's just my favorites. After this, I'm gonna be doing a top 10 worst pay-per-view events, both possibly from WWE and or AEW. I'm gonna have fun with this one. Trust me, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. Anyway, that is my top 10. Thank you for being a part of this show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm always reading all the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And until next time, guys, I have been your boy Chaos. Peace!